Okay, I've said this on the show before, and they posted it on social media. And boy, oh boy, did it get some reaction on the Instagram and the TikTok. That's where it's like if you were to say, let's just say I would go out on TikTok right now and I would go, the sun is really, really bright and really, really warm when I stand and look at it. Someone on TikTok and Instagram would go, "No, you're wrong." They would literally break the argument down. It's hysterical. So on the show before, I said something that went kind of viral because I said everybody needs a best friend at work. Now, some people thought I meant that your best friend of life is also the best friend at work. That's not what I said. What I said was, at work, in work, everybody needs that bestie in the office. So in other words, I work at Ramsey Solutions. I need someone at the office that I go, in the office, of my acquaintances, coworkers, and people that I would say, they're coworkers, but they're also friends. I need the best one. Okay? I need the best friend. And so people are like, that's crazy. Why in the world would you need a good friend? Just go do your job and leave. But you know, it's very possible to be crazy lonely in the midst of a bunch of people. There's over 1,000 people that work here at Ramsey Solutions, and I promise you, as sad as I am to say this, there are people that work here that are probably very lonely in the building. And I don't know how you can separate the innate God-given desire to relate. The root word of relationship is relate. And so we long to belong. That's why there are so many affinity groups in real life, on social media. I mean, we just want to flock with other birds of our ilk. And so that's why it is important that you have real friendships and relationships at work. So anyway, I've talked about this a lot. I absolutely believe this to be true. You know, it doesn't mean you're doing life with them, going on vacation with coworkers. It does not mean that you are going out every night after work and hanging with them. No, go home, be with family. And by the way, anybody that works with me will tell you that I model this. Joe, you've known me, man, we're well over a decade. Do I model this? And I'm not looking for a pat on the back, but do I model this? I am not hanging out with a bunch of coworkers every night. I go home, been with the family, and that's all I do.
Affirmative.
And by the way, there's a season coming when Stacey and I will be empty nesters, and it's going to be great. You know why? Because they'll probably never eat at home. Unless we have people over. But right now, my desire is when I leave the office, I'm going to go be with my family and then be with my friends when I'm not with my family. So that's a setup for the bigger issue here, which is not just friendship at work, but what is the American relationship with friends? I mean, again, this is data just from our country. So this is from Pew Research, one of the most storied survey and data companies. 61% of U.S. adults say having close friends is extremely or very important for people to live a fulfilling life. 61%. I think that's too low. I'm a little bit bummed by this. I'm just curious, quick little survey. Alex, does that bum you out? Would you have thought it would have been higher or lower? Okay, he says it bums them out. 61% of U.S. adults say having close friends is extremely or very important. So that means that there's a whole lot of people, 39% going, I'd like to be left alone. This is far higher than the percentage of people who say the same thing about being married. Oh, no. So 61% of U.S. adults saying having close friends is important, but only 23% say being married is important. Yikes. That's depressing. Real quick note, side note, for those of you that are listening to this, go do your own research. Just Google the health benefits of being married. I don't think most people realize this. what I think people realize is that so many people have been divorced, people grown up from a divorced household. And so obviously, and I would understand this, I did not, neither did my wife. So our view of marriage is, of course, very skewed towards watching our parents, both sets of parents, being married now, 54 years, 52 years on each side. So I understand that my context for marriage is different. Okay? And so I want to be sensitive to people that grew up in divorce or have been divorced. It doesn't make you less than. But the point I'm making is that the data is very clear of the positive physical benefits and financial benefits of being married. Go look it up. All right. Only 26%. This is really scary. This is very scary. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole, but I wanted to cover it. Only 26% of Americans think that it's important to have kids. Now, you just play that out for 2-3 more decades. There's going to be a whole lot less of us. And then finally, only 25% think it's important to have a lot of money. Now, that could skew a lot of different ways. I won't go down that rabbit hole. I don't think you have to have a lot of money to be successful or significant or live a meaningful life. I absolutely would agree with that. A lot of money is not going to be the determining factor. It's nice, but it's not the determining factor. Okay, so they surveyed 5,000 adults on this, so I want to break down some of the things, okay? So 8% of Americans say they have no close friends. 38% of Americans report that they have 5+ close friends. Okay, so no close friends, 8% of America. 38%, 5+. Now, this is interesting. The age divide in the number of close friends that people have skews towards older people. Half of adults 65 and older say they have 5 or more close friends. Why? Well, they're in a different season of life, right? Presumably, they're not working, and so they're hanging out with other people that are their age, and it's more community open, meaning that they've just got a lot of friends, and they can hang out with them because they got a lot of time. That makes a lot of sense. 40% of those 50 to 64, 34% of those 30 to 49, and 32% of those younger than 30 report having 5 or more close friends. So it starts to just drop. All right. Now, the majority of Americans with at least one close friend, 72%, say they're either completely or satisfied with the quality of their relationships. Here's what you want to take away from this. You don't have to have 5+ friends. One really good friend. I mean, one really good. You know, this is your girl. I mean, you guys cry together, you shop together, you travel together, you exercise together, whatever it is. Guys, you know, you play golf together, you hunt together, whatever it is. One really good friend. The numbers show that 72% who have just one good friend are very satisfied with their relationships. The survey also finds that having more friends is linked to being more satisfied with those friendships and in life. Why? This is the key takeaway. We're meant to relate. It's that simple. And when we aren't relating, we're suffering. I think it's that simple. If we're made to relate, meaning relationship, whether that be of a romantic nature or just a what is the word I'm looking for? Not romantic, but plutonic. There we go. If we're not relating, I believe we're suffering. I believe the soul is suffering because we crave companionship. I would also say to guys, and I'm only going to speak to guys. I can't speak to women. I don't have the context or the authority to be able to do so, but I'll speak to guys. And I've been married 25 years. I'm happily married, love of my life. But I have always had, in every season of life, and by the way, the seasons come, the seasons go, and friends do as well. But I've always had one or two guys that I'm really close with. And it is a very different relationship than the one I have with Stacy. And I would say to ladies, I think you need the same. But I think the key to a healthy marriage is having healthy friendships outside of the marriage relationship. I'm closer to Stacy than anybody else, but having guy friends that we hold each other accountable, we lift each other, we make each other laugh, we challenge each other in sporting events or whatever. All of that matters because we're not going through this thing alone. So it's really, really important. Really, really important. So the takeaway, we're made to relate. You're not relating, you're suffering. And that's not good. This is the Ken Coleman Show.